The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Welcome to An Open Door on the Arts. I'm Barbara Richer, and I'll be your host as we travel today throughout the Capital Region, finding the artists and the programs that enrich our lives. We're not traveling very far today. In fact, we're just going over to Troy. We're going to be talking about the Arts Center of the Capital Region, which is located in Troy, New York, since 1962, when it started in a brownstone on one of the charming Troy streets. But about 10 years ago, I think, it moved to 5 buildings, amazing, on Monument Square in Troy. And we'll be taking a tour of those buildings along with Sonny deSilva, the Director of Education. Welcome, Sonny.
Thank you.
I must tell all of you, our listening public, that last week I came over, I think, and I thought it consisted of your gallery and the Black Box Theater, and was fully prepared to hear about those 2 spaces. And you offered to take me on a tour. And oh my gosh, my eyes were so opened. We went through these 5 buildings and all of the rehabbing that you've done. And I think it's important, and wondered if you might be willing to take our listening and watching audience kind of on a guided tour of everything that is offered by the Capital Region Arts Center.
Sure. I think that's one of the problems, is that, if you look at the storefront, it just says the Arts Center, and until you realize that we take up all of that space, because some of those storefronts are rented, it's very difficult to understand the breadth of mediums in 36,000 square feet of space.
Absolutely.
And of course, we have 2 underdeveloped floors on top of us, so there's more room. So as you see, I opened up, actually, we have so many mediums in all of those spaces that it's often hard for me to remember. But let's say if we're going on the main floor, of course, we have some great gallery spaces that we have, a variety of shows, and we really do focus on that for the local clientele and for local organizations and for local artists. It's very important for us to be a support to the local art community.
Absolutely, and I will say the gallery space is beautiful. It's just very, very lovely, everything you've done. It's a really, truly very nice gallery space.
And very often the nice thing too is, as I go through the mediums and talk about our programming, is that we have the ability in that gallery space for some of our students to actually show their work in specific shows, but then of course also in the fence show they always have the opportunity. But that's really lovely. You don't get that a lot of places where you actually then are able to show your work, what you've created. So in the bottom we also do have, as you said, the Black Box Theater. That's a 99-seat Black Box Theater. Actually, it's about 101 seats. But it's a great space, and we do all sorts of events there and programming. It is a space that we also rent out to the Troy Civic Theater that does shows there, and Troy Night Out. We always have a great event in that space that's a free event for the public.
How wonderful.
So coming up, we have a dance event called Rachel Stallman Party of 5, and then we go on and on. Every month there's something new. The next month we have Troy Civic Theater will be doing Macbeth, and that will be free and open to the public, one of their performances, which is really great. And then we have a theater performance by one of our classes, our community inclusion project in that Black Box space. So a lot of things happen there, and we're looking in the future to do programming involving theater style of classes with new work. So that's something that's in the future.
Exciting.
Yes, but that's in that theater space. Then we also have a very small and lovely kitchen that we use for culinary classes. The nice thing about it is it's very intimate. It's not a large space, but it allows the student to get really hands-on and involved. And we do a lot of programming around area restaurants and the farmers market and farms in the area.
Very nice.
So we've really started to focus on local food and the local food movement and chefs that kind of support that. So it's a nice space there as well. So I keep going, bottom floor. We have our offices there, of course, but let's move up to the second floor where we have quite a few studios. If you were going up our large staircase and went to the left and all the way down to the end of the hall on the right, we have our writing studio or our conference room. But we have a great writing program at the Arts Center. Of course, if anyone's familiar with Marion Roach Smith, she started her program there in memoir, which has become renowned. She actually has an incredible book called Writing What You Know that came out of the program she taught at the Arts Center. We have some incredible authors like Elizabeth Brundage, and we have poets and that come and teach classes there at the Arts Center, which is really lovely. But then you will go across the way. We have our stained glass studio. So we have stained glass classes, and you can do anything from a one-day create a stained glass panel into a more extended class where you really learn the art of stained glass through our Hudson Valley Community College Craft for Credit classes.
How wonderful. So that's a partnership that you've developed with Hudson Valley. That's grand.
Exactly. And we also have camps where kids are allowed to do stained glass, and parents may go, oh, but it's really a safe way to do it. They will get a little cut, of course. They're working with glass, but it's exciting. Kids love it. From the age of 9 and up, they get to take stained glass.
Some of the pieces that were there were quite lovely.
And a lot of those were done by young people, which is amazing.
Wonderful.
Which is amazing. So then if we come down that hall, then to the left we have our digital arts lab, which is state-of-the-art. We have these huge, beautiful Mac computers. We have MIDI keyboards for computer music. We have iPads that work with each of our computers. We also have a set of DSLR cameras. There are 13 of those. So if you come and take a class at the Arts Center and you want to learn photography or digital filmmaking, you can use our equipment. It's not necessary for you to bring your own. So then if you really love it, then you could go out and buy your own and understand how to do that.
And you can create music.
You can create music. We do classes on digital music. And we are trying to do some songwriting classes as well, working with a really lovely local young man who's a songwriter, a published songwriter. We also do have electronic art classes, and that's kind of an up-and-coming thing.
Very much so.
Right, intersection of technology and art. So in that lab, we're able to experiment with that, and we hope to be getting new equipment in there to support this idea and this practice.
Yeah,
but it's so hard to say everything that does happen.
Right.
Good. And then down the way, if you went up the little staircase, because it was 5 buildings that were called together, so you get these ups and downs, which is interesting. On the left, we have a jewelry studio, and this is, bench jewelry studio. You can actually learn stone setting, metalwork. That again, we have Hudson Valley classes, as well as just our regular classes for the community. So you could come in on a Saturday and make a beautiful forged cuff bracelet, or a hammered link bracelet, or make your own wedding rings. You can make band rings. Or then you can take a more intense class if you really want to get into jewelry.
So you have classes in all of these different arts mediums that we're talking about. And sometime during the course of the year, they are going to run into a class that can be taken.
Exactly. And they're ongoing classes, so we call them, like every semester, like a school. I'm right now planning fall, but our summer catalog is out. And then we'll have our spring semester, which is large. It's the longest one. And you can always take classes in these mediums during those semesters.
And we will mention it again and again, just to remind people, while they're waiting for those books to come out, that some of this information eventually will be also available online.
The majority of it it's all available online, and it actually is the most up-to-date source.
Excellent.
It's artcenteronline.org, and
that will be again at the end of our program too. It'll
very accessible, and that you can find the events that are going on, all of the free things, as well as about our grant programs. Everything is on there online.
I did go into your online program, your website, and I can vouch for it being very manageable, very up to date, very interesting. Very interesting. It was just this morning, so it was
great.
Very up to date.
That's great. So we left off with jewelry, and you can do bead making, glass bead blowing, and all of that. So a lot of different things. And then if you go across the hall, then we start our more visual art studios. We have a lovely drawing studio where you can take a figure drawing with a live nude model, or portrait drawing. Then in all sorts of a variety of drawing classes. And then we have a painting studio, and we have a variety variety of painting and mixed media. And then we have a multi-purpose studio. All of these are very large spaces with, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking River Street. We are really blessed for this
beautiful.
location, right, because we have windows in every one of our spaces.
The lighting is amazing.
Right, facing either River Street or the Hudson River. So we're really happy about that.
Now, do people only access these spaces when they're taking classes, or if someone wanted to come in and experiment with some design they had in mind, would they be able to access a space? Or?
It's kind of an open studio idea. So we're working on that. I'm working on finding a way that you can have access if you have experience. There are ways, though. We have what's called try-it classes. So if you're just interested in maybe experimenting with a medium, like you heard stained glass, you could actually, at the beginning of every fall and spring semester, I have try-it classes, and you can sign up. And it's an hour-and-a-half class, and you kind of come in and you just learn what to do. And it's very inexpensive. It's just meant to come in and find out, and then to be interested.
And experiment.
Right. And we do, if you take classes, certain classes like stained glass and jewelry and pottery, there's open studio time. You get basically quid pro quo. If you get a 3-hour class, you can have 3 hours of open studio time.
That's wonderful.
Yes. And we're trying to do that across the curriculum, but it's difficult in some of the mediums, but we are trying to do that.
Of course.
So on our tour, we had a dance studio. We actually have this great dance studio that overlooks the Hudson also, which we offer a variety of classes, yoga, very different movement classes, things like 5 rhythms, which you'd look it up. It's a specialized movement class. And we have ballet and modern dance. We have swing dance. It just depends. We've had Bollywood. There's all sorts of dance that goes on in there, and movement, right? Tai Chi goes on there as well. And then we would have to go downstairs, of course. So we would travel down to the basement. And again, this space is out on the Hudson River, these studios. And
large windows.
Large windows.
Yes.
And that's, if we traveled all the way down to one end, we have our printmaking studio. That's a Hudson Valley class as well, but we also offer that to the general public. And you can do anything from just, you can do acid etching. We have an acid etching booth. Just a high level of abilities can come in and use that studio, and it's really lovely. Then if you travel down, we have our woodworking studio. Really hot right now. People are really getting into learning how to make things for themselves. Yes. And if you went in, as I showed you, we even have boats in there. We have a boat building course.
Yes. They're beautiful.
They're beautiful.
They were works of art.
Heroes,
they
yes.
were.
And so we have things as far as furniture making, to traditional woodworking, to woodworking for women. We're going to have an instrument making class next year. So this space is used for a variety of things, but if you enjoy working with wood and working with your hands, we really try to find something for you. Yes, come and see the space. It's large, and then we have a huge studio, a huge power tool room, a huge wood storage room. It's great. And then, of course, our pottery studios, they are the largest in the region with 20 wheels, 5 kilns. Again, there are 4 actually large rooms. We have our own glaze mixing, so actually you take the materials, and you can mix your own glazes. We have classes like glaze chemistry, because our potter in residence is a chemist. So there's just all sorts of things you can learn from the very beginning. If you just want to taste it, right, and take beginning wheel or hand building, which is another way to get into it. Or if you want to go to an advanced level, we have people that have studied with us for years.
So if you're just thinking, I think I'd like to do this, I may have a talent in this, I really want to try it, or if you've been doing it for 20 years,
exactly
it's the place to come.
Exactly right. And if you don't see what you want, give me a call or email me and say, Sunny, I really think you should try this, because we have to learn at supporting the community what the community needs to grow. And so people do that, and they ask me, and then, so I look into it and try to find out how we can satisfy that need.
I think that was one of the things that impressed me out of our conversation last week, was how absolutely community oriented the Arts Center is, and how really that's your whole thrust is is partnering and joining with and finding the need for and figuring out how to fit together. It's remarkable that you've been able to all do as much as you've done in satisfying that many different needs.
Well, we're trying. It's very difficult, but I think really focusing in the past few years, the idea of focusing on the creative life and allowing people creative expression, which is so important for all of us as human beings. And so letting people know that there's a space, a safe place and a supportive place where they can come and discover their own creative expression, because we all have the ability to be creative. But so much of us have been held down, in schools and whatever. But stop that. We can all be creative, and we even have classes in creative thinking programs. So that's very important to understand that we can all be creative, and we want to be able to support the community and all ability levels in that expression.
And all interests in that.
And all interests, right.
I saw on the website, and I jotted it down because I thought it was such a wonderful quote. It says, engages people in the creative experience. And you just really do. I mean, it feels like when you walk in there that you for sure will find a place that your creativity will come to the fore. And the other thing I wrote down was that 48,000 people in an 11-county area have made use of your services. That's impressive.
Well, it's a big space too. If we were in full capacity, that would be amazing.
Yes.
But there's only so much. But yes, it is very good, and we reach that many people, and through our camps as well, through kids, we actually have started a lot of young people, and I actually just have an intern that came into my office that said she was so influenced by camps she had taken with us that it kind of helped her lead in the direction of where she wanted to go in her life, and that's very exciting.
Yes,
we hear that all the time from young people that have been able to come in and experience the Art Center. It gave them a sense of purpose and place.
You never know what door you're opening, and when that person walks through that door, what that's going to allow them to do with the rest of their life that they may never have thought of. So I think that's...
And of any age. It's not just
Absolutely.
young people, because we get a lot of people,
age.
right, they've retired, and then it's their time, it's your time, I can't wait, right, to really do what you want to do. And so then they come and they're able to discover.
I was going to say, sometimes it's very hard to know, and just having a place that allows so many options for you to get your feet wet, so to speak, whether you're 5 years old or 55 years old.
Or 85 years old.
Or 85 years old, right.
Keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, it has that feeling about it there for sure. Well,
there's so much I didn't mention.
But these are your programs. I did want, and you mentioned camps, and I just talk a little bit about that for folks and the workshops.
Great. We have camps for kids, and they really are art education camps. This is not, some camps, and it's just the way it goes. They're more kind of babysitting services, but we really work on arts education camps. They're small. We go from first grade all the way through a senior, but they're broken up into groups. So you'll have first through fifth grade, and then we have specialized for fourth and fifth grade, because they're getting ready to be serious. So they get to do some serious things. It's called serious fun. And then we have middle school and high school, and they get to do pretty much everything that we have to offer, if I can fit it in. I mean, so anything. We have tech art camps, to filmmaking, to a great program that was started with us called Farm Food Photography, and collaboration with the Agricultural Stewardship Association, which is a great camp. We have all the visual arts. We have portfolio for high school students who want to really work on their art portfolio to go into college. I mean, I could go on and on. Last year we had street art. We have we have computer music production and recording. We have, I can keep going, comics. Really, with a great graphic novelist and local comic book writer. Right, we could just go on and on.
Kids are very much into that now, too.
Very much so.
Now, the art reminded me that you do have an event, too, coming up that's along with Friday night in Troy, or
Troy Night Out,
Troy
every
Night
Friday
Out.
in Troy, right? And because Troy's such a lovely walkable space, it's really great. And in the summer, lots happen. So you come down to Troy Night Out, and you'll get a map of course, events. I'm sure all of those kinds of events have that. But you'll see what to see and do. And we always have free events for the public. And we always also now we have an association with Tech Valley Game Space. They're indie game makers that are local, and they've got a little space in downtown Troy where they just kind of meet and greet but they use us to teach classes. They also have game jams, and they have kind of game showcases. So on a Troy Night Out, you can come into our digital arts lab, and you'll see all these independent gamers, and they want you to try out their games. And if you haven't discovered game design, it's really a great thing.
Very, very big right now.
And it's accessible to everyone, and that's their whole thing. They want everyone to know, everyone, that you can actually learn to design games.
Again, from kids.
It's an art form.
It's a family
It's a family thing, and it's an
sure.
art form.
Right.
So there's some beautiful art and some games. So that's kind of fun on Troy Night Out.
So that's another wonderful thing, that you can expand the word arts, keep expanding, keep expanding, and finding new ways to make art and make it available.
That's
and
true.
accessible.
I just talked to someone today, a new instructor to be, because I want to do a class called The Art of the Tattoo, and he's going to actually teach a class on if you want to design your own tattoo. You can't it's not just your typical art. You have to take all of these things into consideration. So people who love tattoos or want a tattoo, they could come to the class and they actually learn how to design their own, and he will help them, and then it would be able to be translated into a tattoo. You just can't take any drawing and do that. You have to know what you're doing. So that's something that's
wonderful that you're so forward thinking too, because tattoos have been now for a while, we know, very, very popular.
Yes, and it's an art form now. It really is.
It is. And so to be able to design it is quite exciting. That's excellent. What have we not touched on? I know that
our grant program?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Grants are good. Grants are one of the things that allow all of this to keep happening.
Right, and also this is for our local community. We are the DEC site, the decentralization site for the New York State Council of the Arts, and we give out grants, money, to artists and arts organizations in Albany, Schenectady, and Rensselaer counties. The cycle will begin in late August, and there's money out there, and we also help all local artists and organizations in the application process. So a lot of people are nervous and they think, oh, this isn't for me, I'm not a real artist, blah, 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 blah. That's not true.
I've never applied, I
right,
don't know how
exactly,
to do it.
Exactly. And our whole purpose, and this is dictated from the state, is we are to handhold you and to take you through that process and to help you be successful. And I actually review the applications. I sit down one-on-one and tell you how to make the best application. So when it goes to the panel, then hopefully you will be funded. So it's very important for our community and for our community support for the arts and for people out in the outlying of all of these 3 large counties, to be able to have some support for their group and their organization, and then to present their art form to the general public.
And they have that ability with you, don't they?
They do.
Because as they're creating, they can create towards the end product of, if it's a dance group, being able to use the theater. If it's a writing group, to be able to have an open writing night for the public.
Exactly. And we try to support the program by supporting our grantees in that way. So finding any way that we can to promote their work, which is great.
So really, whether you're looking to fine-tune your own creative processes in all of these different mediums, or whether you're looking for an evening to come and go through a gallery or a theater event, your whole public should and will, and we would like to see them walk in your front door and say, I'm here.
Yes, and when you do that, you really do support your local artistic community in ways you can't imagine. Like in our galleries right now, we have our fence show, which is anyone who's a member of ours can submit 2 things, and they go up on the walls. It's a salon-style show, so visual art and 3-dimensional art, sculpture. My dream, as I've been pushing, is to expand the fence show into like a performance fence as well. But so the great thing is that though they all get the chance to actually be in a gallery show, and then there's a smaller show that is selected by the curator, and then the winner of all of that gets to have a show in the galleries as well. So this is a year-long process, and that we support our artistic community and our members. You have to be a member to be in the fence show, but it's really wonderful. I can't tell you how many instructors I've seen that have gone on to do greater things, and then I look back in their resume and fence select, at the Art Center of the Capital Region. So it's really nice that
tell me what
they're able to do that.
fence, where did that come from?
That came from the original brownstone. It had a fence. It was on Washington Park. And there was a fence. So the original show was actually hung on the fence.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Someone asked me the other day, what did they do when it rained? And I don't know. I need to ask.
What did they do?
I need to ask
It wasn't
someone.
allowed to rain.
I guess.
Showtime.
I guess. But it's got great history, as the Art Center does itself, being 50 years old this year.
Being able to carry it all along, that's wonderful. And
Yeah.
they can see a couple pictures of the original founder, I think,
Yes.
and the fence on your website. So
True.
that's good to know. Now, this summer, is it August when the fence show is up now? I'm not sure when this will air, but then
July
it comes down
19th
to the curated pieces.
To the curated pieces, July 19th. The curated pieces called the Fence Select comes up, and then at that same time, in a juxtaposed gallery, there is a show of the winner of last year's fence, which is just a beautiful, really colorful artist, Marilee Susi, I believe I have her name right. She'll be up, and then after that comes down, I always have to make sure that I'm right. Then we have a couple of community shows. We do a senior high school art show with Questar, New Visions here, and that goes up. And then one of our other contract groups, Community Inclusion Project with the ARC of Rensselaer County, has a show that goes up. So there's a variety of pieces.
I wanted to just have you say a couple words about that. I was very impressed that you really reach out to the entire community through Questar and through the Center for Disability. You have students.
Center for Disability Services,
so
the ARC of Rensselaer County, Northeast Association of the Blind Albany, variety of constituencies we do contract classes with that people might not see, but we now have something called the Community Inclusion Project, in which classes are taken together with the public, which is really lovely. And it's just a great way for you to come and take a class, and for anyone of any level to come in and enjoy each other in that creative atmosphere, because we all have the right to be creative and should be given that opportunity.
Well, it was a wonderful discovery for me, I must admit. First of all, I thought it only was the Art Center of Troy. So I don't know where I have been for so very long, but to find out that it's the Art Center of the Capital Region, and that truly it is of the Capital Region, that's not just a name that you all have been comfortable in having, but that it's a name that you've made absolutely clearly representing what you're reaching out to do, because so much of the community, the entire community and the entire Capital Region is involved in one way or another, or should be involved in one way or another in all the things that you're doing. I noticed too that many of your programs are free.
Yes.
Some of them have, and again, people can go to the website.
Costs associated, of course, because we're a very large facility to keep that thing going, and we are not for profit. But, we do have scholarships available. We have generous donors who have given us money for scholarships for children as well as scholarships for adults. And so if you're considering, giving to the Art Center, that's a great thing to give money for one of the scholarship programs, because that allows someone to take a class that can't afford it and
then do you earmark a particular program?
There are a variety of ways. We have one fund, the Chris Miller Fund, that's for 19 to 30-year-olds. It was created in honor of this young man by his family, and you can donate to that one. We have Arts Access scholarships that are for young people to take camps and classes, and we have another fund for earmarked for regular adults, that can't afford classes. So that's where I would like to see more money for adult scholarships, but just so everyone that wants to can actually be, have the chance to be creative and come and take a class.
Well, it's a rich, rich, rich environment. I can absolutely attest to that. I could have spent a week and a half there. It was just wonderful talking with Sunny and touring the plant, so to speak, seeing all the different mediums that are available for folks there. I can't urge you enough to drive over to Troy, go over to Monument Street, walk in that door, and walk through that gallery.
I'll give you a tour.
Yes, she'll be there. She'll give you a tour. It truly is. inspiring and enriching and encouraging of one's creative spirit. So go to the website, check it out, see when there's a show there that you might enjoy. They're from dance to visual arts to, it's all there. You can see it. And think about taking a class. We're all creative. And
Yes.
we need to polish that up in all of us.
And we're there for the community.
So thank you, Sunny, one more time for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for all of you for riding along with us on this tour. Please come back again and see us, and please get over there as soon as you can. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.